Hello, I'm Dr. Rosie Kuhn, and this series is called I Want to Be a Better Coach. And as I've mentioned in the previous videos, I've been doing this work for over 20 years as a coach specifically, and training individuals to be a coach, transformational coach. And I've been writing books and blogs and doing lots of videos. And so I wanted to do this so that I could share some of what I've learned and my experiences or my thoughts about things with you so that you could have a better idea of what you want to do, what you need to do, what you're inspired to do, perhaps, or called to bring yourself more in alignment with what you're wanting to be, rather as a coach or something else. So, and I put it that way because I've got some questions today that I think will reflect a little bit more in this whole process of, can I make a business as this at coaching? Is it something that there's room for? Is there room for me as a coach? Is this something I can do? Is it something I can make money at? All those kinds of questions. We have three basic questions I'm going to stick with today. So let's get started. So the first question is from Karen, and Karen's been a coach for many years. She started started as a participant in my coaching group, which is sort of like a supervision coaching training kind of program that I do. The link below is, if you're interested, check out the link below for the coaching group. And Karen's been coaching on and off for quite a while. And she says, can I really do this? I constantly question my value as a life coach, especially after my personal coaching sessions with Dr. Rosie. Thanks, Karen. I appreciate that. And the answer to the question, can you do this? It's a yes. It's a hell yes. The question underlying that is, how effective do you want to be? I mean, that's part of what this I Want to Be a Better Coach series is about, is like, how effective do you want to be? How much do you want to grow yourself in order to be effective? So can you do this? Absolutely. Can anyone do this? Pretty much, depending on what is your intention, what is your sense of where are you inspired. For me, as I mentioned before, I was a therapist, and I was inspired to go in a different direction because I realized when I was working in recovery that I didn't have any foundation in spirituality or spiritual development that was so part of the recovery program that I was supporting and supporting the individuals. So I went to the Institute of Transpersonal Psychology, now Sophia University, and there I trained in specifically in spiritual guidance. And then after that, I found coaching. Now, when I started as a spiritual guide, it was like, I don't know how to do this. I mean, I'd been a therapist for almost 10 years. And then I was a spiritual guide. It's like, I don't know how to do this. And then I got my feet in the water and felt comfortable doing that. When I switched to being a coach, it felt like a whole different reality. And in some ways, it's the same. It's just a set of skills and tools that we use, but it's also something to be learned and to grow into. When I first mentioned to one of the principals, founders of the Institute of Transpersonal Psychology, and I'm blanking on his name right now, but I was having lunch and I was just in the midst of my training and I had just finished my PhD. He said, so what are you going to be doing? And I said, I'm studying to be a life coach. And he said, man, that's deep work. That's intense. That's a lot. And I went, yeah, I know, because there's a different quality of presence and being that's, for me, a requirement in order to support and empower my clients to go in the direction that's important for them to go. And if I'm not clear about that and my intentions to support and empower them, then it's really easy to get caught up in other stuff. So in Karen's question, can I do this? It's like, yes, you could do this. And what are you committed to? What's your intention in being a coach? And this leads to the second question, which is, can I make money? Because part of the dilemma is when people consider being a coach, the other question is, well, can I make money? And it becomes a both and, or I want the money. The money is a higher priority than coaching. And so that is a big dilemma for people. And I'll talk more about that at the next question. But I wanted to bring it up because it's like, what is your intention and what needs to shift for you in order to be a more effective coach? Can I do this? Yes, you can do it. You can coach at any level, but just by talking and being present and listening and being connected. And this is true for parents or teachers or uh, ministers or priests or nuns or anybody who's in a place where they're holding space for good conversations. The dilemma is, how deep are you willing to go personally? How much are you willing to shift and change within yourself to allow yourself to be a more effective coach? That's the question, is what's the degree to which you want to allow or are willing to allow yourself to move from this level of coaching to something else? Now, I've been, like I've been doing this for almost 25 years. And so my level of, in a sense, my grasp of this orientation in the world of coaching, but also my grasp in terms of how we be human and how we choose to choose what we choose, that has come over time. And I have thoroughly enjoyed the exploration and curiosity and fascination and watching how I get in the way of my clients, how I watch what I'm listening for, as in, are they going to come back? How much money are they going to pay me? How much money will I lose if they leave? And all of those kinds of questions in the midst of a session. What we listen for is, am I good enough? And am I going to make them angry? Am I doing something that they're going to be offended by? All those questions get in the way of being an effective coach. So the easiest way to answer this question, Karen, is to say, yes, you can do this. And what's the degree to which you're willing to allow yourself to explore and expand and evolve and be curious about who you are in the seat of a coach? And that's going to take you in the seat of who you are as a human being and probably as a spiritual being. So it's a big question. But anyone can be an effective coach. It's just a matter of, what are you willing to invest in terms of yourself in that process? One of the offerings that I offer that's in the description below, you'll see, is a webinar I made last year. It's called The 10 Essential Truths of Transformational Coaching. And I think it's just great. I love it. Some of the people that watched that, they were like, yeah, no, it's too much. I don't want to work that hard. I don't want to do that level of personal work in order to be a more effective coach. These are people who are coaches, and they're saying, yeah, no, that's too deep, too much. Don't want to do that. Good to know. Really, really good to know. Because their level of where they're happy in their success and their fulfillment, that's all that matters. The program will be there, the webinar will be there, and I've created a course called Mastering the Art of Transformational Coaching, and that will be below. You'll see a link soon in terms of the wait list for that. It's in process, but people are going, nope, too much, too deep, don't want to go that deep, don't want to know myself that much. I'm not curious enough yet. So it's just good to know what's your level. Where do you want to coach to? And I love coaching to the whole person, the whole being, including the spiritual and the expansive self that we are. I love coaching to that. Someone else may go, nope, don't want to do that. I just want to coach in this little box. Good to know. So know what you want, know where you want to go, and know your willingness to do the personal work to make that happen. I really encourage people to think about not taking any more trainings. If you've got the training as a coach, I encourage you to get supervision or your own personal coaching, or I do one-on-one supervision and one-on-one training to help people move to what they're going through. Now, I'm not saying this to get clients, because it's not, would be great, but that's not what this is about. This is about, I want to encourage you to find and explore a way that's going to help you enhance and get to know who you are as a person, but also as a coach, so you can move into the direction you want to move in. And there are only specific coach trainings and or individuals that can support you to do that. Do your research, find out who those people are so that you're in alignment with the people who can support you in being the most effective coach you want to be. So yes, Karen, you can do this, and you can be as effective as I am, if not more so. I'm doing my work, going to where I'm going, and you're going to go where you go. Okay, next question. This goes into what Edward asked. Edward says, there are so many coaches out there. Is there room for me? So it's a great question. And part of the dilemma with there being so many coaches out there is it's like how, for a client or prospective client, how would I find Edward? How would I find the coach that's mine, I want to work with? And the way to do that is for you, Edward, to say, okay, here's my particular focus. Here's my particular passion. Here's my particular way of being in the world. And I'm going to honor that. So I call it being an invitation. And when you're an invitation, you get clearer about what are you offering? Who are you? When I do these videos, or if you see my books or anything else, you see I have a particular persona. I have a particular way of being in the world. And this is it. This is who I am as I'm coaching. This is who I am as a friend. This is who I am. And so when I'm showing up in these videos, you can go, oh, that's Rosie. And that's who I'm going to be as a coach, because that's who I am. And I don't have a distinction between my coach life anymore and my personal. I am just this. So in Edward's question, it's like, wow, there's so many people out there doing what I want to do as a coach. How do I distinguish? How do I make room for myself? And it really, again, it comes down to getting clearer about what it is that's your intention, what's your focus, like I said, what's yours. And Edward is brilliant, and he's got this amazing model, and he's got this way of being in the world that I think is going to be an awesome invitation for people to find him and work with him. But what's most important is not that. What's important is him being able to say, okay, I'm not going to go out there, or I'm not going to put myself out there because everybody else is doing this and I don't know how to do me. And that's a foundational question for you, coaches, or parents or clients or anybody. So we're working always with this, I don't know how to do me in this field, we'll say, field of coaching. When I was training in person at the Institute of Transpersonal Psychology, a number of people in the class were experts at marketing. But when it came to market themselves and put themselves into the world, it was too personal, and they didn't trust themselves. And so they didn't do as well in terms of creating a coaching practice because they were afraid. And that's foundational to almost everything I'm going to talk about here, is where are we afraid to let ourselves trust ourselves? Where are we afraid to be our fullest expression and be this? If you go to a coaching training program, which you probably have, and maybe or maybe not, and they say, here's how you do coaching, and here's how you market yourself, and here's what you want to do, and they lay out all these steps, but those may not be the steps that work for you. Those may not lead you to where you want to be. And quite often people get really confused. They go, there's too much here. And especially, I think sometimes too much too quick. And that's why I like to do the trainings that I do one-on-one, is because those questions aren't immersed in the training. Like, here's how you do business. Here's how you get your business cards. Here's how you make a website. Here's how you get a bank. Like, that stuff is not the focus. The focus for me in my trainings, and still, is how do you be a more effective coach? How do you do what you do, and how do you love what you do? And as you do that, you're going to create your own niche. You're going to create that space where people want to come to you. You become, it's the law of attraction. You're going to attract the people that you want to attract. And whether it's, let's say, has to do with weight loss or aging or parenting or, an athletic coach or whatever kind of coach you are, a health coach, nutritional coach, you will be attracting the people that are yours to attract because you are being you, the more authentic you, the one that you are happy being and happy expressing in the world. When people talk about, how do I build a website? I say, if you were to create an invitation to a party, what would that invitation look like? Because you're inviting people into your space, and a website is just your space. It's an expression of you. If you go to my website, theparadigmshifts.com, you'll see a quality of presence, colors and all kinds of things that is an expression of me. There's photographs and paintings and all kinds of things there. But that website is for me an invitation. I'm inviting you to come and hang out. And if you want more, then there's more. There's always more. There's I think almost 500 blogs there. There's all kinds of things to see and do there. But it's an invitation. Quite often people are going, well, here's how I was told to create that invitation. Here's how I'm supposed to present myself. And as soon as you say, here's how I'm supposed to present myself, now you don't exist. You as your authentic expression. And for me, this whole field of coaching is to support and empower people to be that fullest expression in the world, to be their fullest potential, to be the goals and the results and the dreams and the desires that they're wanting. So if I myself as a coach am trying to limit so I fit in a box, I'm going to be doing that to my clients as well. So the more that I can be practicing how my expression of myself, then I'm going to support and empower people to be that expression. So with Edward, it's like, how are people, is there room for me? It's like, hell yes. And what is your invitation? What is it you're drawing to? What's playful and fun? What's going to make you light up? Because when you get that spark, that's what's going to ignite your clients into that spark. Now, quite often, again, in training programs, they say, what's your niche? What's your niche, your niche? What is that? And for me personally, I didn't know what that was. And I didn't care. I just wanted to coach. I just wanted to practice. I wanted to figure this out. And the specialization didn't come till later, if at all. The work that I do as a transformational coach, it doesn't matter if I call myself a transformational coach or executive coach, spiritual coach, it's all the same work. But I did a dissertation on sailing as a transformational experience. I have that foundation of what transformation is, and I have nurtured that, nourished it to where it is now, where it's just a part of who I am and what I do. But the way that I define myself as a coach or my niche has nothing to do with any of that. It's just what I do. So don't worry about a niche. In a sense, don't think about that. But if you get delighted with the idea of working with young adults or children, that's what's going to light you up. What do you feel called to do? Excuse me. What do you feel called to do? What do you feel called to grow yourselves in? Where are you delighted? Again, I'm using that word, delighted and ignited, spark joy. Where is that for you? Those are the questions. So with Edward's question, is there room for me? It's like, yes. And what room, how would you describe that room that you are? How would you describe that space that you are inviting people into? And again, that for me is what our website is. Our websites are a place where we get to kind of say, here's who I am. And more, and my website has gone through probably 3 or 4 transformations. What it looked like 20 years ago is not what it looks like now. It looks very different because I have changed. And so my way of expressing in the world and what I express changes. So you get to do that too. You get to use that website, that place, that space to say, here's who I am. and do it in the way that works and is playful or makes you feel most fulfilled. Don't worry about what other people are doing. That's part of that competitive element that gets in the way of us actually doing what's ours to do. Somebody else is already being a coach. Somebody else is already calling themselves this or that. Somebody else is already fill in the blank. If you go, that's not mine, obviously, because it's somebody else's, then what is mine? What's mine to do? Joseph Campbell says something like, if there's a path in front of you, it's not yours. That's somebody else's that they made. Your path is unfolding step by step by step. Now, whether you're the coach or the client, you don't want to hear that because it's scary. We don't know how to be in the unknown. We don't know how to say, I don't know how to do me in that unknown, in the creating of me. Let me recreate what somebody else is doing. Let me look at what they're doing and do it something different. But so because I feel safe. But that's not what coaching is about. That's not what we're doing in the world of coaching. It's one of the reasons I want to do this is I want to help us as coaches see where we may be limiting ourselves, but still wanting to help clients expand and be their fullest expression. It won't work. It won't work. It'll work to the degree that it works. But if you're hiding out and resisting and staying small, it's too scary, your practice is going to be probably small and limited because you're not open to who you are in your fullest expression. You're not willing to explore what's beyond the competitive or what you're told or what the, marketing checkpoints are, all that stuff. If you're looking at all that stuff, you have to say, who am I in all this? And again, getting a support, you might work with a mentor or peer coaches or whoever you're working with. These are the questions you want to ask if you want to be a better coach. If you don't want to be a better coach, that's good too. Just know that being where you're at is going to give you the results that you're getting. It's what we coach to with our clients, right? It's what we have to take our own advice. And it's been a challenge for me to take my own advice over and over and over again. But it's the only way that I've been able to grow myself and be most effective with my clients. And that's been really, really important to me, is to be really effective with my clients. That's what they're paying me for. So why not deliver what I promise? So Edward, I hope that gives you a sense of maybe inspiration to find and discover what's yours that you're bringing to the world and through this field of coaching. Okay, the third question is Hallie, and Hallie says, is it possible to make money as a coach? And the answer is yes, it's possible to make money as a coach. And I mentioned this earlier with Karen's question. Quite often people are saying, oh, I'm gonna become a coach and I'm gonna make 6 figures. And it's like, wait a second, do you know how to coach? How many clients, how many hours have you actually practiced coaching? How are you training yourself? Are you working with a coach? Are you getting supervision? Are you developing your craft as a coach? And quite often people will go, no, I'm not doing any of that, but I'm going to make money as a coach. And it's like, there's this dilemma because we're pulled to say, I want to make money or I need to make money, and coaching will be the way. But most of us forget that we first have to know what we're doing and be able to do it well enough that people are willing to pay us. And I mentioned last week about the concept of free before fee. In a sense, the more that I practice what I'm doing, then the more I'm good at what I'm doing, then I'm more likely that the people who are now free clients who don't pay me will either come to pay me or they will refer people and go, hey, work with Rosie, she's great. In which case I might go, yeah, and now I'm going to do this for $100 an hour or whatever that is. But if I'm not practicing, I'm just assuming, and I did, this is 20 years ago, I'm gonna finish my coach training, and then the clients are just gonna come. They're just gonna come because I'm great, and I've got a great social system, and I've got lots of, my network and all that kind of stuff. So it's all gonna work, and they're just gonna come. Well, guess what? I did get some clients, but it wasn't sustainable, and there's lots of reasons, and we're gonna talk about some of that. But it wasn't something that kept growing and growing and growing. We know that the number one way of getting clients, if you will, is through referrals, personal referrals. So people who work with you, you ask them for a referral. Hey, if you think this is valuable, do you know anybody else who you think they would find value in this too? Or if you find this valuable, please let other people know. That's your main resource for referrals. Um, and other things occurred for me. But the fact is that when you start out, you are anticipating maybe a big surge of clients and it doesn't happen. And now you feel stuff. You're dealing with your sense of worth, your sense of deserving, your expertise, do I know what I'm doing? All of those kinds of things. We put the cart before the horse. If you really work on training yourself as a coach, and that means coaching with people potentially for free or volunteering or wherever you can use these skills and tools to empower people, use them and listen and hear what's working for you and what's working for them. Where do you ask a question and they go, "Er," and you go, "Oh, that was a question that didn't work." Where are you engaged in a sense where they're more engaging with you? Where is that for you? And how do you work that out for yourself? And again, if you have a coaching group or supervision or someplace where you're getting some feedback and you can work with somebody who's got more experience than you can grow yourself and develop yourself that way. Quite often people will keep taking trainings to bring in more information, but if we're not practicing putting the information to work, then it's not not going to work. It's like learning a language. My daughter's moving to Italy for a couple of years, and I'll probably start learning Italian. Eek. And in that process, I have to speak it. I can't just listen and learn. I have to speak it because it's that part of the brain that needs the direct experience and the articulation. And so that's what it's like with coaching is we have to have the direct experience, one client at a time to grow that direct experience so that we feel confident within ourselves. We come to trust ourselves. We come to trust and respect who we are in the seat of a coach. So if we don't do that, people aren't going to pay us because we don't believe in ourselves and we don't have the direct experience that they're actually looking for. If I was a violin maker, maker of the violins, I would have to go through many, many years to get to that level of artistry that somebody or craftsman or artistry that someone would pay me for my violin. And we think that becoming a coach is very much like that. Oh, we got the certificate. I've got my certificate. People want what I have to offer. But we haven't developed it within ourselves that we actually have something to offer. We might have some skills, but what's deeper and more important is those elements of our personal context, the way that we see ourselves and think about ourselves, and which means self-worth issues, fear-based issues, which is the same, and lack, scarcity. I'm not enough. I don't have enough, basically, is what it comes down to. So the more that you work on those issues, the more you're going to grow your business, but you're also going to grow your business. You're going to grow your practice as a coach because as you grow your own self-confidence and your own self-trust and self-worth, you're going to want to bring that to your clients. You're going to want them to be that for themselves. So the more you give it to yourself, the more you're going to give it to your clients. So the thing about money is it's challenging to make money as a coach. I think that's true for a lot of people, and a lot of people quit because they're not going to make enough money. A lot of people who are successful financially now, they're afraid that money's going to go away. that they aren't going to make what 200, 1,000, 100,000, whatever that is, not 100,000. Yeah, 100,000. They're afraid they're not going to make that, so that they're not willing to make the leap into coaching. And that makes sense if you've got bills and you've got a financial structure that requires a certain amount of money. Leaving all of that to coach, those are all those kinds of questions, like they're big questions, and you want to get coached around that. You want to get support around that so that you're making that transition potentially slowly, or whatever is your pace. I was doing some research yesterday on this, and there's a lot of people that just aren't going to make it. They don't make it as a coach. And that could be for a lot of reasons. If they're not willing to do the personal work, or they've just run out of money and they've got to go back to another job. And then there's other people who are like, no, I couldn't make it as a solopreneur or as an individual coaching, but I was able to find a job in a company who hired a coach, and that was me, and I'm really loving what I do. So there's all kinds of ways to deal with that. I want to address this, and I'm going to address this. For me to start a business in coaching, all I did was I just was coaching. I just coached. I didn't start a business. I just coached. And then eventually I put a website up, and then eventually I made some cards, and eventually when I moved to Washington, I had to get a business bank account. And when I moved to Washington, I had to get a business license. So it was a little bit of this, a little bit of that. There wasn't this structure to, I have to make money and I have to make the business. And because too many times people are trying to put the business before the coaching practice. If you're not a practicing coach, if you're not practicing as in exercising, and learning your skills and tools and becoming really effective at that, then you're not going to draw people to you. And you're not going to feel the confidence that's going to draw people to you. This is all about law of attraction. Okay. So I'm going to say, don't worry about making money. Live within your budget and train within your budget. And don't keep taking courses and trainings to try to learn stuff that's going to make you more effective. What's going to make you more effective is practice and getting supervision of some sort from someone so that you can see, oh, this is something where I'm getting in my own way. This is where I get in my way. This is where I get in the way of being effective as a coach. And when you can see those things, then you're willing to do something about it. And that's what's going to make you an effective coach and more likely to be successful as a coach financially. Now, one of the models I've been using came from Eric Maisel, who's a creativity coach. And that's what he was doing. But in that process, he was also doing other things. And he talks about cobbling together in order to really have a lifestyle as a coach, sometimes have to cobble together a number of things. So I was training, I developed a training program. And so that was some of where my money was coming from. And I was coaching, and that's where some of my money was coming from. And I was doing retreats, and that was where some of my money was coming from. And I was writing, created some books. I have 15 books. So some of my money comes from that. So there's these cobbling together of what you love to do. And that's what brings you an income potentially that can support your lifestyle. Now, the other thing is I made a choice that my lifestyle is far more important than having a six-figure income. And I live on an island in Washington, and I am very happy. I own my my property, and I live in a very small travel trailer. And you can go, well, what kind of a successful person are you if you live in a travel trailer? Well, I'm successful in that my lifestyle is very fulfilling. And that's what's most important. That context of here's the parameters of success, making over six figures, having a big house, going on big travels and all those things. That belongs to somebody, but it doesn't belong to me. My lifestyle is simple and elegant, I think, and lovely and fun and playful and restful and peaceful. I'm not caught up in the stress of having to maintain something that is right now currently not accessible for me. So I've been living in travel trailers for 20, almost 20 years, 20 years, 20 years in August. And it's comfortable. It's like, people live in tiny houses. This is a bigger tiny house as far as I'm concerned. It works for me. So I say that in transparency in terms of, am I successful in what I do? Absolutely. Am I a master at what I do? Absolutely. Am I confident in what I offer? Absolutely. Am I making a lot of money? No. And that's okay, because I'm living within my means. And that to me is really, really important. The last piece of this I want to bring up is when people are having conversations about money. The truth is, it's never about money. It's about scarcity. It's about our issues around worth. It's maybe all kinds of contexts around what your thoughts are about business. I used to think business was a terrible, horrible thing. And so I didn't want any part of it. So that's going to make me back away from business. Money, I have all kinds of issues or had around what money meant. Rich people are mean and powerful and all those kinds of things. So all those elements of our thoughts about money and what it is, that gets in the way of it actually, of us attracting it. So being able to ask yourself, if it's not about the money, what does money mean to me? What is it? What's my context around money? What's my thoughts and my feelings and my stuff around money? Well, my dad had it and he was stingy and I don't want to be one of those persons, so I'm never going to have money. Okay, great. That's going to influence what shows up in your life, in your business, whether you're a coach or something else. So being able to ask yourself, money is never about money. It's always about something else. Then you can be curious. And this is true for if you're coaching clients who want more money, you go, money isn't about money. What's it about? And all kinds of wonderful truths arise, which can help you begin to look at, wow, maybe I'm looking at money in a way that's not allowing it to be forthcoming. And then we can make those changes, perhaps. So quite often money, and this, can I make money as a coach? Yes. And if it's not forthcoming, then again, there's something you want to get coaching around to go, wow, what's occurring within me that's not allowing that flow to me? Okay. So those are the questions that you want to ask yourself if you want to be more effective as a coach, and also be more effective at drawing and bringing the potential of more money to you. So the last thing I'm going to say about this is sometimes so here's the foundations of what I am, my overview of what we're doing here on the planet is we're all spiritual beings and we're all here on the planet learning and growing and resolving some specific life themes. And those life themes can be anything. But it usually comes down to self-love, self-hate, self-betrayal, abandonment, violations, all kinds of things, victiming, all that stuff. And if we can begin to go, okay, so if money isn't coming to me, there's a life theme playing out here that I need to take into consideration. You might have a lot of money, but you might be sick, or you might have a lot of money, but relationship issues. Like, we never know what our life theme is, but we've all come here to learn and grow. And so if money isn't forthcoming, then you have to go, well, what are the issues? This is just another way of looking at this. From a spiritual perspective, if I came here as a spiritual being to work through these issues, and here's the challenge, money isn't seem to be coming, it's not forthcoming, then there's work to be done inside that's going to hopefully allow that flow of money to come. So you can call it karma, but karma is just, what is it I have to learn to allow this to be done, whatever this process is. So I'm very clear that money is not forthcoming in the way that it looks for some people. It just doesn't. But my life is very fulfilled the way it is. And I continue to look at what are those issues that I am resisting or avoiding or ignoring that could be those issues that keep money from coming, keeping the flow of the universe coming in my direction, keep the flow of book sales or whatever. It doesn't matter what that is, but what is it that I might be doing, or how am I being, or what's my vibration or resistance to that keeps money from coming in? So when you're asking yourself the question, can I make money as a coach? Yes. And are you willing to do the work? Again, the sort of the theme of the whole day. Are you willing to do the work to uncover what's going to bring to you what is most fulfilling, whether it's financial or being the most effective, being the most at service for people? Those are the questions. Like, what are you willing to do and or not do? It's good, just good to know. But I really encourage you to question taking another training to get more information, because that's just one channel of who you are. And you've got this heart, you've got this soul, you've got this connection with the world, and you came here to be the fullest expression of that, and to receive the fullness of all that you came here to experience. So I'm really encouraging you to look at that and be present to that, and do whatever you can to support yourself through that. So I think that's it for today. I have a lot of different offerings down below. Like I said, the webinar is free. There's here on YouTube is a playlist called Boot Camp for Self-Transformation. And it's got a lot of information and processes that I use as to coach, but also to coach yourself, basically. So that might be really valuable to you as well. Just as two of what is possible down there in the descriptions. There's also a form there that you can click on if you have a question or a challenge that you'd like to ask about your experience as a coach, where you're challenged. Love to hear from you, and I'd love to answer your question for you. All right. Thanks very much. Have a good week, and I'll see you next Thursday. Okay. Bye for now.